Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so happy to have you. So my pre-existing subscribers, welcome back to the channel. So for today's video in particular, we're going to be talking about and discussing everything revolving around the health episode and official diagnosis that has just broke the news. But specifically, I believe it broke today. As of when I'm recording it, it is being recorded on Thursday, July 17th at 11:11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As of when I'm recording this specific video. But when the news broke today, it said that Donald Trump was diagnosed with an illness. Specifically, they used the word chronic. Like chronic is never a good sign, which means that I looked and did a little bit of research. Actually, you can see up on here on the top left corner, you can see where it says 11:11. Oops. Whew. I don't know why I can't do this right, but you can see it says 11:11. But anyway, besides the point, what I was trying to insinuate here is that they were saying that his illness, whatever he received, I'm also seeing 1010, but his illness, what he received was incurable, and it's not something that he can fix. And so that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. It's kind of ironic that the last video, the last live from last night, when we talked about it, we talked about the plausibility and possibility of a health episode, and that Melania was already pre-aware of that. We said specifically it had to do with the brain as well, and it's going to be common for what he did with the a fake attempt that he did back in last July. But it's not. It does not go without saying here. So we're going to take a look at this, see whether or not this is what Spirit was talking about yesterday, and find out what's going to happen to him, especially revolving around this specific disease. But before we do, if you want to help out the channel grow, you can do so by liking, commenting, subscribing, hitting the bell icon, engaging with the content. Watching the video overall and watching the video longer than normal and sharing this video content with others really help boost the algorithm here on YouTube. If you want to be notified when I do post and upload, go into the comment section below. And you can follow my Blue Sky account or my Facebook group if you want to be notified when I do post and upload next. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's begin. We have a lot to get through today in today's video. So I just want to make sure that this live is short and brief, but yet informative for you. All right, so this video is just for entertainment purposes only and for educational purposes only as well. For some reason, it wasn't being in English for today, but for entertainment and educational purposes only as well when we're doing this video. All right. So I do want to do a quick community spotlight for those of you guys who have been actively engaged here on the YouTube channel. We have James Lauren, Sinopoli, Equal 3333, Storyteller, you're new, so welcome Storyteller. We also have Fizz Pictures. So thank you all of you guys who have been taking the time to interact with the channel. It does not go unnoticed. So let's go ahead, let's delve right into it. Let's find out what the hell is going on with Donald Trump's hand, and specifically in regards to his health. So let's take a look and read about his diagnosis first. I want to give you the medical diagnosis to kind of like just tell you exactly as it is, what it says on the internet in regards to that diagnosis. And then we'll go right into the whole video because I don't want to, give you false information. So I want to tell you exactly what the information says online. So Donald Trump was diagnosed today during breaking news that he was diagnosed with what's called chronic venous insufficiency, also known as CVI. Generally doesn't directly impact life expectancy, but it can significantly affect quality of life and increase the risk of complications. While CVI itself isn't typically life-threatening, it can progress to more serious conditions like deep vein thrombosis or DVT or venous ulcers if left untreated. The CVI and life expectancy. CVI is not usually considered life-threatening condition, so we are aware that this is not something that possibly caused Donald Trump to pass away. But we're going to take a look at that and see. Anyway, there could be underlying issues. One of the main things that I have found that is a key indicator here is that what can cause chronic venous insufficiency has to do with the heart. The heart reason. We kept talking about how people are going to have a lot of heart problems, specifically around the heart. I'm actually surprised there wasn't even any breaking news. I actually thought, like, when the news broke, I thought it was fake news. I really did. I didn't think that the news was real because, well, we've been so sheltered from Donald Trump's health that I didn't really myself believe that that was actually news. But it was news. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's begin. I don't want to waste your time, like we said, so let's just delve right into this. All right, so Spirit Angels, tell me about Donald Trump's hand. He was diagnosed today with chronic venous insufficiency. Tell me more about this. Again, I'm not a medical licensed, I'm not a medical practitioner. This video is just for entertainment and educational purposes only. If you feel like you do have a health episode yourself or you can relate in some formality to Donald Trump, my best recommendation to you is to go seek medical advice. This is not a medical channel. Therefore, anything I do or say on this YouTube channel, I'm not legally liable outside of this video. All right, so Spirits Angel, tell me about Donald Trump's diagnosis, the chronic venous insufficiency. He was found trying to cover up his injuries with makeup. And it could also be like swelling up the legs as well. And he can't sit. What Donald Trump loves sitting. This is interesting. This is interesting. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not his doctor in particular. But it's very interesting nonetheless. The first card that comes in is we have the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups is the interesting. If you guys remember from the past, there was a lot of things on the news that would indicate that Donald Trump's health is a little bit weird. It's a little bit wonky, right? And that is what this card indicated here. It indicated that things are a little bit wonky. Things are not as expected. That, people had their suspicions, but they couldn't exactly prove that suspicion. But people were right. And the more that you make these things, whether you fall down the stairs or whether you hide things with makeup, it becomes obvious. It becomes shown to the public. And this is what this Four Cup is symbolizing here. The Four Cup is symbolizing you can only fool the people so much, then you're going to have to give in. You're going to have to be honest about what's going on here. If you're not honest, then people lose trust in you. They lose faith in your inability to be able to, what's it called, best put, to lead the nation. Right? He's an old man. Whether we want to admit that or not, that's not up for us to decide. But as you do get older, you do become sicker. That's just the natural way of life. And so this is the Four of Cups here. The Four of Cups is symbolizing here that Donald Trump did not want this news to break. He did not want to break this news. He did not want it to come out. But it had to come out because there was a liability here. And the liability is that if he didn't do it, he'll be threatened with the 25th Amendment. And so by putting this out into the news media, people be like, oh, okay, it's expected. So if he does have a health episode, we're already aware of his situation. We're already aware of his condition. Now, the next card that we get in here is the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles is reversed. This tells me here that there is a break here. There is a break. There's almost like, whether it's his doctor's orders or his inability to do his executive order, like do his branches of government, do his presidential duties in his full capacity. There's a limitation here. There is a limit. And it almost feels like in some way, J.D. Vance, the vice president, is going to be doing a little bit more. He's going to be stepping more into the presidential role. But it feels like there's a limitation to Donald Trump. There is a limitation. Whether it's a doctor notice and saying, hey, listen, you cannot perform the office of the presidency the way that you intended it to, or he himself finds himself limited in his jurisdiction and what he can do because of the restriction of his illness. We do also have here as well is that he needs to hang up his legs a lot. This is one of the conditions that's very noticeable when it comes to his illness. But typically, this is not like a psychic prediction at all. This is literally what is in the news. You can look it up. You can look up about this disease. You can read more about it. It literally said that when you have this type of disease, you need to elevate your leg. This is the most elevated you can possibly get in any tarot deck. This is way beyond elevation. But this is essentially saying is that he's losing blood in different areas of the heart, in different areas of the body, into supplements. So now, for you, if you guys noticed, I've been my camera switched. That's why I look a little different, and so with the cards. So managing the cards is a little bit difficult today. But the Hanged Man reverse is symbolizing to all of us that because it's reversed, it's clearly symbolizing that the blood transfer is being blocked from the heart. Now, when this person suffers from diagnosed chronic venous insufficiency or CVI, they often find themselves in a situation where, okay, so if they don't elevate their body parts, elevate the parts that are the limbs, which would be the legs and the arms, they end up having a restriction or a lack of blood flow to the heart region, right? And the heart is what pumps the blood to the rest of the body, which end up causing still blood, and still blood um, be, end up dying because they're not able to transfer carbon dioxide. So it's really a slow carbon monoxide poisoning. It's what it feels like. So what is this doing here is that Donald Trump needs to really elevate his legs. So it makes sense because he's not able to perform his presidential duties after the news is broken. He's not able to perform at full capacity his presidential duty because he needs to elevate his leg at full capacity. And there could be a possibility that Donald Trump could end up leaving the presidency, whether that is permanent or whether that could be temporary. Maybe he undergoes surgery. But this is the Eight of Cups. And the Eight of Cups is saying walking away from something because maybe you need some time to take a break. Maybe this is the time you need to just relax and just take it easy. Hello, Doris. And that's exactly what this card is indicating here. It's indicating that time you need to be able to spend with yourself to be able to move forward, to stay relaxed, and to be able to go where you have to go. I'm trying to fix the camera here. I don't know what's going on. Okay, there you go. I don't know. I like this better. So now if I move it this way, it's a lot easier. Okay. That's probably look a little weird. Okay, so that's what I'm getting in the cards here, that he could possibly end up leaving. It doesn't look like a permanent situation, but it could be permanent. But JD Vance does in some way play a big role here. So let's go ahead. Let's take a look at JD Vance here. Spiritual Angel tell me about JD Vance, the Vice President of the United States. Will he be stepping in for Donald Trump, who, according to the tarot cards, are saying that he is going to be restricted or find himself restricted in his presidential duty or his ability to perform the presidential task as directed or as elected to do the office of the presidency? Will J.D. Vance, the vice president, have to assume the office of the presidency, or better yet, assume some of the responsibility of the president and delegate those tasks to the vice president in order to alleviate some of the pressure on Donald Trump? There's a lot of cards here, so that seems to be pretty much true. I know when we opened this video today, we kept seeing 11-11 and 10-10, so that was very significant in itself, which means that, furthermore, if you guys have been with me for quite a while, when we know a lot of videos are synchronicities, we're seeing the same numbers over and over again, we realize those videos have more significant matter, and this video has a lot of significance to it. Okay. So let's take a look. Let's see what JD Vance is up to. So we have the Knight of Cups here. The Knight of Cups means walking in with an offer, walking in with a proposal, an intention. Right? Walking in with an intention, walking in with a proposal, right? And what is this proposal? This is opportunity. This is direction. Showing the world what the world could have instead. It almost feels like, in a way, that JD Vance can offer an alternate perspective, an alternate reality, and he could really showcase it to the world. And that this could be his moment, that he may seize the opportunity to show the world that, hey, listen, Donald Trump is old. Out with the old, in with the new. And that could be the model that he ends up going with. That could be the energy that he ends up going with. But this is a perspective. This is a proposal to say, hey, listen, this is my chance to be president. This is my chance to shine. This is my chance to show that the people should elect me the next president, right? And it almost feels like there's a way for J.D. Vance to really position himself, and this will be the moment if he was to seize the opportunity to become president, or even better yet, assume some of the responsibility of the presidential task and have it delegated to the vice president. He will seize upon that, and he will be able to use those things to elevate his position, to say, hey, listen, I did this because Donald Trump was feeling sick. I did that. And he's able to create his own record, to be able to separate himself a little bit from Donald Trump in a way that he himself is his own acting president. Now, we have here the card that's upright is the new leadership. This is the new leader card, right? This is the Page of Wands. This is a new potential, looking at things from the way that they could be. This is the sick, right? And you're seeing all these branches coming out very slowly but surely. And you're seeing this guy with the color yellow, and yellow symbolizes the solar plexus, which means I do, right? I do with confidence. I do. This is saying here that he is going to do it. This is the leadership. If he does decide to take this moment and seize the power to be able to delegate more tasks of the presidency onto the vice president, he will do it, and he will do it effortlessly. But it's not without the intention, and the intention here is the devil. The devil is what crosses him. There is a barrier here. Yeah, he may be the new leader, but it's the same old, same old. He could tell you, hey, listen, out with the old, in with the new, right? But it doesn't mean that the devil is not behind here. It doesn't mean that the devil is not working behind the scenes. This is slowly saying that he is the same. He is the system itself. He represents the establishment. He represents, in the quote unquote Donald Trump best puts it, the deep state. He is the deep state. Whether you want to admit that or not, that's up for you. But you'll be able to come to that terminology and come to that recognition sometime down the line if you have not done so already. But the page one is saying the new leadership, but it's the same. And it's like almost like the best way I can explain this would be like the definition of insanity is where you keep doing things repeatedly and repeatedly, expecting a different result, but selecting the same option. This is exactly what this means. You're selecting a new option or selecting the same option, hoping you get something different, but knowing in your heart it's always going to be the same. And that's exactly the definition of insanity. Now, the bottom of the card here is we have the Tower card. The Tower card is a breaking news moment. This is not the end of Donald Trump. So if J.D. Vance wants to see power, to see control during this moment when Donald Trump is at his most vulnerable state at the moment in terms of health-wise, it will not be the thing that forces Donald Trump out of power. This will just instead allow J.D. Vance to be delegated tasks that is otherwise considered the umbrella of presidential. The top of the deck here is we have the strength card. So this would be the power and the strength and control of J.D. Vance. This would no longer be the power and the party of Donald Trump. This would be the party of Vance. So Vance is going to position himself in a new way to potentially position himself as the new heiress to Donald Trump's party. They say, hey, listen, Donald Trump is dying, right? Whether he's dying or not, he's going to it's portrayed to the world that Donald Trump is dying and that he himself should be the new leader. God forbid something happened to the cult-like leader. And then here the next card is we have the Hermit card. Darkness is upon us. Darkness is upon that party. So in a way, we're asking the question is what happens that when Donald Trump does decide to take a step back from the presidential power, take a step back and be able to just spend time on himself in terms of his health-wise, J.D. Vance will assume more power of the presidency, whether that means by taking an acting presidential role, whether he is delegating more tasks as vice president, whatever it is, J.D. Vance is able to position himself in a way to be an appearance of being new, but representing the same old system that created him and that everybody's saying that they're fighting against. He is the system in what he said he fights. And then it also talked about how he's going to bring in a lot of darkness, a lot of dark energy, that he represents the darkness and he works behind the devil. And it's just this false illusion to the world that he is this new leader and that he's going to position himself to take over or hijack the Trump party or the MAGA wing. That he's going to position himself as the new heiress or the new heir to Donald Trump's party. So that is kind of like where we're at right now in terms of this situation. So that is where J.D. Vance is. This is where his energy is at the moment. Again, this video is just for entertainment purposes only and for educational purposes only as well. All right, so now that is said, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at Donald Trump's overall health. We haven't really took a look at that yet. We kind of like did a couple poll cards, no questions asked. And the cards actually pretty much came out exactly to the 9. So let's go ahead. Let's find out what that's going to be like. All right, so Spiritual Angel, tell me about Donald Trump's overall health. Tell me about Donald Trump's overall health. Okay, I'm gonna take some water. I'm thirsty. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, hold on. So mind, body, mind. So this is the mental. Actually, you know what? I'll put the crown, the third eye, the throat chakra, the heart chakra, the solar plexus, the sacral, and then the foundation, which is the bottom and top of this deck. So this is the foundation card. This is his root chakra. Okay, so just so you guys know. Alright, so the crown chakra, what is his mental state? His mental state is full of darkness, right? It feels very empty, very void. If anything, any thoughts left. Right? He's not really there. He's senile, if you will. That's his mental state. The crown chakra represents the word I understand. There's no comprehension here. Now let's look at his third eye. What did he see? What did he see in his third eye here? His gallbladder. His gallbladder. Not a gallbladder. Oh my god. Wherever the third eye is, I forgot where it is. I just know pineal gland. That's what it is. We have here. What is his third eye? What does he see? It's reversed. This is the presidency. This is the power. He does not see his own power. So he's going to seize more and more and more. He has inability to control. So because he sees his presidency as something that he can control, because of his health, it's saying the opposite. It's saying that he cannot control his health. He cannot control because you cannot cheat death. You cannot cheat health. Yeah, you can cheat and become president. You can cheat the world. You can affect other people's lives, but you cannot affect your own health. And this is what he sees. He sees in his third eye his inability, his lack of ability to control his direction, the course of the universe, the course of his lifespan. So what does Downstorm see in his third eye? He's seeing that he's not the one in control of his own destiny. He sees the universe, the spiritual realm is in control of him. And he does not like that. That's what he sees in his third eye. What does he speak? What does he communicate? I'm hearing falseness. This is the three pentacles here. This is falseness. This is indicating to me that there's a line of the health of his health, his records, his inability to cope with what the reality of things. It's almost like it's saying to me like there's some sort of denial, there's a refusal to believe what you've been told, to just take it as factual, but instead to challenge it. You say, oh, no, you're wrong, you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. This is what this card represents. This card represents the Three of Pentacles. And now I'm keep getting shown back to New Hampshire when Donald Trump removed the cancer research center. You remember when Donald Trump first became president again? He initiated the shutdown of the cancer research in New Hampshire, and I keep getting shown that. And it makes a lot of sense because you know how Donald Trump holds a grudge to things. It wouldn't be surprising if Donald Trump in some way was told that he could possibly sometime down the future could experience cancer or could get cancer, and that because his inability to control his own health, to control his own situation, he takes it on those that he can control. Because remember, he can control the presidency. Remember, I said in his third eye, he saw him having full immense power to control things via the presidency. But when it comes to himself, his overall health, he loses power. He's not in control of his own fate. He's not in control of his own world. And this is the Three of Pentacles. The Three of Pentacles represent the throat chakra, which means I speak. I speak denialism. I speak falseness. I'm not being honest with myself. That is what the throat chakra is indicating. This is what the Three of Pentacles is indicating for Donald Trump's health. He's not being honest about his own health, not even with himself. He's in this delusional state, which would make a lot of sense why his crown chakra, his mental state, comes in as darkness. It's the lack of honesty. Maybe he does not have dementia. Maybe he has this fantasy world, this sense of delusion that he created for himself to feel as if the world around him is not collapsing, that he's not in control, that he's always in control, and that his the way he acts out in public could be a manifestation about what is going on internally. Now, when you start to look a little bit more in, and we go from the throat chakra into the heart chakra, what's going on in the heart center? We have the Nine of Pentacles reversed. The Nine of Pentacles reversed always symbolized to me, at least, great fortune, great happiness, great prosperity, right? This great thing. This is the reverse. This is the opposite of what you really want to experience. This is the opposite of what you need to have. Remember, Donald Trump was diagnosed chronic venous insufficiency, also known as CVI, right? This is also caused by a heart attack or an episode of the heart in some way. This is the Nine of Pentacles reversed. It's saying that Donald Trump's heart is not functioning as intended. It's not functioning as directed. This does not come as a psychic prediction at all. This is rooted in reality. This is rooted in fact. This is rooted in basis. So if anyone says, "Oh, I predicted this," boy, it just hit the news cycle. Like, I mean, read the news. Like, it's really there. Like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know what can possibly cause CBI, right? It not does not take a rocket scientist to know that. Yeah, I have been talking about heart attacks and health issues and heart episodes for Donald Trump for the longest time. Yes, but this is the reality of it, that the news has broke. And so sometimes people need to be openly honest with you and just say, hey, listen, this is just the reality. The card is just telling us exactly what we see online. It's further clarifying and further verifying information about what we already know on the news cycle. The Knight of Pentacles is also indicating to us that he's actually having a very weak heart, and his heart is not functioning as intended. Now, going into his solar plexus, which is his solar plexus center, which means I do, we have the Two of Pentacles. I mean, the Two of Wands here. And the Two of Wands being upright again indicates looking elsewhere. Right? This means domestic and looking out, looking internationally, seeing abroad, seeing beyond your horizon. And this is an interesting card to get for your solar plexus region, because your solar plexus region represents your diagram, your lung region, the thing that's right underneath your rib cage, right? That is what this symbolizes. But the fact that this is the Two of Wands here is indicating something very significant. It's the fact that the energy is beyond him. It's saying that the body is beyond his physical body at this point, which means that occasionally, probably sometime during the nighttime, we cannot verify this information, but this is what I'm telling you, this is what I'm getting. That there'll be points at time when Donald Trump is sleeping and it feels like you're either on bed, like maybe from some of you guys, you might be like sleeping on a bed and you feel like you're either falling down in like a very far height, or you feel like you're floating on water and you're sleeping on water, and you wake up and you just feel like you're on water. This is what this feels like, but every night for him. This is because, in his way, this is the body's way of slowly preparing the physical body to separate from the metaphysical body. The spirit and the body is separating slowly. And this is what this indicates here, that it's no longer the mind, body, spirit. It's now the body and the spirit slowly separating simultaneously. That means that he's getting closer to his death. That's why you see there's a standalone stake here. It's already in the ground. But once he let go of his hand, this is when it starts the separation. The separation begins. It's already looking beyond the horizon of the physical, which means that he is almost close to death's door. Not saying he's going to die like tomorrow. He could, but we're getting closer and closer to his eventual inevitability. Is the best way to put it. The next card is when we look at his sacral chakra, which is his emotion, his intestinal region, his kidneys, and stuff like that. We have here is represented by the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles would be in reverse, is indicating that there is some sort of malfunction. There is an inability of working things. I'm seeing specifically the kidneys and the intestine. So there's something here that's not functioning as intended. It's the kidney regions, and it's it could also be the intestinal regions as well, which would make a lot of sense, because remember how we said looking abroad, looking ahead, looking beyond the physical body. There could be even possibility of a donor situation. He can get donation. Possibly that could be money, but it could also be a donation in terms of an organ donation, or an organ donor to donate to him to save his life. But this is again the Two of Wands here. The Two of Wands is looking beyond the physical, but possibly could also indicate as well that he might be actually having more problems in the chest region. So from the heart all the way down, he could be having a massive amount of problems, and there might be a need for a quote unquote a fixer upper, if you will. Now, looking at his root chakra, which is in foundation, is his who he is at the core, who his main health is. What is the one that dictates him the most? This is the death card. This is the death. This is a very concerning card for somebody who is represented as his foundation. Now, when this card normally means upright, it normally means a rebirth. You feel like you're being rejuvenated. This is a card that you would get like what's it called? You ever like get a heart attack and somebody's like, they add electricity into you, and then you just spring back up to life. This would be the card that you would get if you were to get a heart attack and if that card is upright. But this card being reversed indicates that this is a bigger issue than what we're being told. That this is going to get worse for his life. It's going to become darker. It's going to become harder for him, which would make a lot of sense. This could be the inevitability that forces J.D. Vance, President J.D. Vance, into the White House. This is the inevitability that could end up being ensued. And the top of the deck here as well as we have the Nine of Cups here. The fact is, looking at the bigger picture, you may see things from bigger picture, but look at the detail. Look at the thing from behind the scene. What is being hidden? What is not being shown to us? Those are the things that are going to be the most revealed. This is the thing that's going to be the most shown to us. But it's going to be obvious. It's just you just have to know where to look in order to really understand his root chakra at its own core about what is really happening to Donald Trump at his original foundation, who he is as a person, who he is at his physical root foundation. The Sun card is also reversed, which means that his root chakra is experiencing a declining in foundation, which means that his sense of self, his confidence, his ability for his body to fight off infection is deteriorating. His body is really being weakened here. This is a very weak vulnerability. That this CVI could represent high, strenuous vulnerability for Donald Trump. Right. Trump won't last too long. The MAGA regime won't last forever. That's exactly right. But I always said before, even if Donald Trump dies, MAGA will still be around. It will be something that is ingrained into a lot of people's mind. It's a psychological phenomenon. It's not something that just will go away in an instant when Donald Trump disappears. This is a psychological phenomenon, and it's going to take a very long time for us to reverse that or better yet, cure it or to heal it. It's not going to happen 1, 2, 3, gone when Donald Trump dies. I just don't see that's not something that was ever in the cards, even when Donald Trump was being shown to me as dead as far back as 2020. So, no, I don't think that it's going to disappear as easily as all of us may have would have liked to think. I still dream every day thinking one day that my parents are going to wake up and realize that they actually don't support Donald Trump. But that's just a fantasy. And you just have to accept the reality that my parents are sick, that my parents have a mental illness. And whether we want to admit it or not, I'm guaranteed that sometime down the line, maybe 10 years, 10, 20 years from now, there might be a psychic evaluation on people who supported MAGA. And maybe they may find out that maybe it was a psychological issue. It might be a psychological illness that may have gone unnoticed. So there's also that. All right, so Spirit Angel Tommy will the diagnosis of chronic venous insufficiency, will that be the thing that killed Donald Trump? I know that this is a little bit long to ask, but will this kill Donald Trump? Will be the direct cause of his death? It's interesting because if you guys watched my other video, we kept saying how Donald Trump goes. It's almost direct, like it's almost similar energy, just very similar theme, but the storyline changes. The play story changes. Like we had Civil War, you could possibly push up via Civil War. It's all those type of things. You ever notice how the story just never stays consistent, and we really don't know how the story is going to end until it ends. But there's so many plausibility and possibilities that we can enter into because the choices are so drastic and so much shifting and changing, even with the sewing machine, that we really don't know where we're going to land until we land there. But it's interesting to see what will come to fruition. It's ironic because when I start to look back at my other YouTube videos and I start to give the most likely plausibility and the possibility of things occurring, I've noticed that the ones that I thought at the time were the least improbable were the ones that became the most probable. So, for example, I talked about how Donald Trump was going to run against Joe Biden. Joe Biden was going to win. I know, but it's actually true. Joe Biden would have won, and I got that consistently in every video. But I also said that he was going to run against a woman. We wouldn't know who this woman is. It could be Harris at the time when I said it. And that she was going to lose. She was going to be elected president, but never become president. And there was this whole thing. Well, the moral of the story is that the most likely scenario could possibly become the most likely scenario. So that's why I give you the most probability. I lay them all out, and then we watch and wait and see what one unfolds. All right, so let's go back into the reading now. So we're asking about, can the CBI kill Donald Trump? Will this be the direct cause of his passing? The first card is we have here, we have the Hierophant. This is doctor's order. This is the hospital. This is the structure. This is the government. This is the body, right? This is the physical body. This is the Hierophant. We have here, we have the Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords is coming in hot and heavy. If he did not listen to doctor's orders, which I don't know how he responds to medical orders, but assuming based on how he acts in real life, and he does not like to be told what to do, one can presume that he's not going to follow doctor's orders. And if that is the case, he could end up dying due to this illness alone. It could be advanced from chronic to extreme, or better yet, incurable. So it could be something as simple as that. That, this, if goes left untreated, could possibly lead to the death of Donald Trump. But this specific disease alone won't actually kill Donald Trump. We talked about he had some issues with his mental state. He had some issues in the heart, the sacral, the solar plexus, and the root chakra. So he has a lot of problems from the heart all the way down and a little bit of the brain as well. So he is disconnected from the heart chakra and his mind chakra, and therefore his body is separated from both simultaneously, which means that they're not in connection, they're not working, which means that he has some sort of nerve issues. I don't know what it is, but he has some nerve endings, and there's certain parts of his body that's not sending the signal that something's wrong. And that is also going to play a major role around his death day. What do we have here as well? We do have the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords is coming in hot and heavy. This could indicate two things. This could indicate fast swiftness of preventative medicine to get a hold on it, to stop it in its tracks before it becomes worsened. This could also mean that the physical body, and this is the spirit, and the spiritual world take the physical body, and this could lead to the eventual end of Donald Trump. But this is saying here with certainty that if this goes left untreated, it could possibly lead to the end of Donald Trump. So, yeah, I honestly, CBI, despite what we talked about earlier in the video, if left untreated or left uncared for, it could be exponentially advanced to the point where it could lead to a situation that could cause Donald Trump's eventual demise. It's not a likely plausibility, but it's a possibility nonetheless. All right. Doors, you wanted to ask will MAGA turn away from Vance? Based on what the card said today, I'm going to say no. No. All right, guys. I think this is pretty much it. It's it's very late at night for a lot of you guys. I'm sure a lot of you guys have to be up tomorrow morning. So I'm not going to keep you guys up any longer. But I want to thank you all for taking the time to come on here and join the live. I really appreciate all the love and support you guys have given me here on this YouTube channel. If I'm not uploading a video, always check out my lives upload, because sometimes I don't always upload it. Sometimes do lives. And anyway, besides that, thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will see you guys next time. Until then, peace out. I love you.